Welcome back. Just hours from now, the House and Senate will receive a briefing from top defense officials on the situation in Syria and the raid that killed ISIS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi. This comes after the president made it clear that he did not inform congressional leaders, specifically Speaker Nancy Pelosi, about the raid before it happened. But another person was left in the dark, and I'm not talking about a Democrat. Acting Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney. Current and former administration officials confirming that to me and my colleagues here at NBC, Mulvaney out of the loop. He first learned about the raid against the ISIS leader when you and I did, when the rest of the world did, after the operation was already well underway. Joining me now, two of the people behind this report with me, NBC News correspondent Carol Lee and Kristen Welker. Carol, walk us through this timeline and how it all played out, and help us understand how odd it is for the chief of staff, he's not one of us, to be out of the loop.
Sure. So what we know is that Mick Mulvaney was not briefed on the operation until after it was underway on Saturday night. As you'll recall, when the president tweeted that something big had happened, he traveled with the president to South Carolina on Friday, the day before, and decided to stay there to spend time with family. So that's where he was at the time that the raid was underway. What's really significant about this is that it's extraordinary for a chief of staff not to be looped into something this momentous for a president. These are the kinds of things that make or break a presidency. And typically the chief of staff would have a role of coordinating everything from a communication strategy to, what happens if this fails and it doesn't go well, what do we do then? And would really be kind of bringing all of the different elements of the White House together to make sure that they were messaging and reacting and notifying everybody that needed to be notified. That obviously didn't happen here, and it suggests that Mick Mulvaney is just not seen by the president as someone who's a significant advisor. One administration official told us, well, the group was small and the element of surprise was important, so not a lot of people knew. A person close to Mick Mulvaney pushed back on that and said, look, he was briefed along the way, although this person wouldn't say when. But overall, Steph, and I know you hate this word, but Chris Whipple, who has written the book on chiefs of staff, said this is unprecedented.
Oh, Carol owes me $2. Kristen, then elaborate on that for us, how unprecedented this is and what it tells you about this administration on an operation this significant.
Well, we know that, for context, Bill Daley, for example, was in the Situation Room, the former chief of staff to former President Obama, during the raid on Osama bin Laden. So certainly this is a break with that. Having said that, look, officials here at the White House make the point that, as Carol just said, this was a long-planned trip. Someone close to Mulvaney pushing back and saying he was aware broadly that this was going to take place. He was fully briefed, however, afterwards. He couldn't get to his skiff because he was in South Carolina with family. We've been talking to officials here and asking Hogan Gidley, does the president still have confidence in Mick Mulvaney? His answer to me was, Mick has done a good job implementing the president's policies at OMB and as acting chief of staff. He went on to say, when the president doesn't have confidence in someone, you'll know it. Steph.
Sure, but Carol, give us a history lesson. Think about Rex Tillerson. I can't even get into all the people who the president said, yep, doing a great job. And before that person could even pick up their phone to look at a tweet, the president said, thanks for coming, you're done. What kind of situation does this put Mick Mulvaney in? He's been on the ropes for a while, especially since that press briefing.
Yeah, he really has since the press briefing. People we talked to have said that was a real turning point for his stature in the White House. Frankly, his standing in the White House has always been in question because he was named in December of 2018 as an acting chief of staff. They've never given him the permanent job. So just by its nature, his position is a little tenuous. But, the president this is a president who just kind of tires of people. He likes people and then he doesn't like people. So, Mick Mulvaney's fate could change at any minute. Right now, he's certainly, this specific instance underscores the fact that he is just not necessarily potentially in it for the long haul.
Well, the question is, who is? Consider all of the people. Think about Rachel Maddow's wall of people who have left the administration. they're going to have to make the font size smaller.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.